Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm glad to introduce to you Claudia Merkert from BullionStar. So, Claudia, welcome, and tell us a little bit about BullionStar and your role there.
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you, Brian, for having me on your channel. It was such a pleasure to meet you at the Gold Conference. BullionStar, we are an international bullion dealer. We've got clients located in over 128 countries, and our head office is based in Singapore. We've been in business since 2009. And we are one of Singapore's most reputable and largest bullion dealers, having made transactions worth over $2 billion. Our amazing shop with the 400-ounce gold bar on display, which you held when you visited recently at Clarke Quay, and our main vault, they're both located in Singapore. However, we also have a business presence in several other countries, including New Zealand and the United States, which is simply due to our wish to want to give our customers other vaulting options. I am based in Australia. My role at BullionStar has two main elements. First of all, I look after our key accounts, which are mainly made up of international clients who do a high volume of transactions with BullionStar. And then the other part of my role is to develop and manage new business, and that's mainly focused on Australian opportunities. We do offer exceptional pricing, and you may have seen lately we've been running the BullionStar Auctions, which has resulted in a lot of our customers being able to obtain precious metals even below spot price on some of our products. So yeah, it's been exciting.
Yeah, I saw some of the ranges of products that you have historical value. So there's also numismatics, so for collector items as well. But yeah, the fact that some people could actually pay below spot price, they're very, very lucky of them by all means. And I'm sure they're smiling and they're grinning from year to year. So, Claudia, how did you get into precious metals? What was the journey that led you there?
I studied law and commerce accounting at university. And it was around that time, about 25 years ago, that I began to learn about the global financial system. And I instinctively felt that there was much more to learn than what was being taught at the surface level. So I began a journey to learn about the history of money and the banking system. And I learned about fractional banking, fiat currencies, and I studied situations in history like the hyperinflation in Weimar Germany in the 1920s, and then Zimbabwe in 2007, where they ended up with this $100 trillion note, which was still basically worthless. And I came to learn that gold and silver have been the only real money for 6,000 years. And as governments are getting us further and further into debt to essentially get re-elected with little care for future generations, that real money like this and this are really the only thing that's going to truly protect our wealth and that of our children's future. So given I was knee deep in learning about all these things during the time of the 2008 global financial crisis, it really only magnified those issues for me and made me realize what a house of cards our global financial system is built on. And then once your eyes are open to all of this, it's really not possible to go back. So hence my journey into precious metals.
So why did you want to work with BullionStar, and when did you start?
Having done law and commerce accounting at uni, it's sort of a natural progression that you typically end up in some sort of tax role. And so having spent the earlier part of my career in tax consultancy at EY, and then I worked at the Reserve Bank of Australia, I actually just realized that I wanted to work in areas that I was passionate about and could make a genuine difference in real people's lives and their futures. I wanted to work with BullionStar because they are absolute innovators in their market, and they're always looking for ways to make precious metals more accessible to everyone. Also, obviously, they're an internationally reputable company with some of the biggest names in precious metals as their clients. And most importantly, though, I already had a wonderful experience with them as a client myself. So naturally, when the opportunity came up, I jumped at it.
So you came across them when you traveled to Singapore, or was it when someone recommended to you?
Yeah, well, and over the years, I follow a lot of the analysts and all of the, talking heads on precious metals, and a lot of those big names in precious metals, the BullionStar kept coming up. So for me, it was my earlier experience as a client, and then it was a natural progression for me to move on to wanting to work with them.
One of the topics we talked about at the Australian Gold Conference, you were asking me about diversifying my precious metals holdings because my mine's all in Australia, and Singapore is a very safe jurisdiction, and there's a massive bullion vault, I think, in Changi Airport.
That's right, the
Freeport storage facility. I thought it would be a good idea possibly to explore this option to have wealth stored overseas, especially in case of what happens with the Australian government. If it goes down the wrong track further, we might want to relocate and you want to have wealth stored elsewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. Just that jurisdictional diversity. And you've also obviously got the option with us to store in New Zealand, which some people like that option, and also the US. But obviously Singapore is our main vault, and it's in an extremely high security vault next to Changi Airport. It's called the Freeport, and it's like a James Bond style vault. Probably one of the most secure in the world.
How does BullionStar compare to most other Australian bullion dealers then?
Yeah, well, we already have many long-term happy customers located in Australia, and they're able to purchase in Australian dollars and pay for their purchases directly to our Australian bank account, which is of huge benefit. It makes them feel like they're purchasing from an Australian dealer. But we also have many unique features that most bullion dealers don't offer worldwide, let alone in Australia. So as we've discussed, customers do have the option to vault with us. They can ship direct to themselves with fully insured shipping, or they can collect their purchases like you did from us in Singapore. And they can do all of this via an online account, which they can access 24/7. So day and night, you can buy, sell, and trade your dealings with BullionStar. And as we also have, discussed, we have that jurisdictional diversity, which allows you to vault your precious metals in Singapore, New Zealand, or the USA, which is of great benefit to Australian customers who might want to hold some of their assets safely in another jurisdiction, but still have that full access and control to buy and sell via their online account. And all of our clients' bullion is fully backed at all times. So we have 5 different audit methods, which gives peace of mind to our clients. One of the other things that I'm super proud of and I love is that we are so innovative in the marketplace that we were the first bullion dealer in the world to offer the ability to make purchases and take payment in crypto. So obviously there's those synergies that exist between, people who are interested in cryptocurrency and typically gold and understanding fiat currencies, and the ability to be able to do that directly and not have to ramp your money via a bank is really appealing for a lot of our clients. One of the other things that we have, which is no other dealer is doing, is something called our no spread bullion bars. And this allows you to take advantage of both short and long-term market movements by buying and selling bullion bars with no spread. And this essentially keeps more money in your pocket. And then we also have over 1,400 products, which are really competitively priced, which is probably the most I've ever seen on any bullion dealer. And also when you sign up for a free account with us at bullionstar.com/new account, you do get 10 grams of free silver. So that's another little plus for signing up for an account with us for our customers.
What do you and your colleagues at BullionStar observe with the attitudes of people in Singapore versus different parts of the world and their attitude towards precious metals? And the next part of the question is, what may be the reasons driving these differences in attitudes?
Well, we find that people from European, Asian, and Middle Eastern countries tend to understand why stacking precious metals like gold and silver matter now more than ever. And typically, people from these countries tend to have a deeper understanding of generational wealth and investments in assets such as gold than people from more recently developed countries such as Australia and United States and Canada and New Zealand. Our belief would be that this comes about because these people have often come from countries that have experienced war and hardships or hyperinflation in their past, and they typically understand history better. And it was throughout history that assets such as gold typically saved the wealth of people through hard times and allow them to flee persecution and survive and thrive, and for their future generations to still retain some of their wealth.
What do you believe would need to change to spur more interest in precious metals among those living in the West going forward, especially the younger generation?
In terms of the younger crowd, I'd say that Bitcoin has educated an entire generation about the dangers of fiat. It's helped them understand that pieces of paper are inflationary and have no value other than what a government gives it. And they can understand, therefore, that gold is real, it's physical, and it has value. And so, I feel there's a sea change of young people coming to gold and silver due to them witnessing the debasement of currency and how inflation is affecting their ability to buy basic goods like food, let alone a home to live in. And in general, I would say that interest in physical precious metals would increase if it were more accessible to all customers in a way that online share trading and crypto trading has been for a long time. And at BullionStar, this is something we're always aiming to do to increase that accessibility. One of the other programs that we have, which allows more people, no matter what their wealth, to access precious metals is through our bullion savings program. And in that way, you can purchase gold, silver, or platinum in 1 gram amounts. So for example, you can purchase 1 gram of silver for $1.50, a gram of gold for, $130 odd dollars. This is Australian dollars I'm talking about. So it essentially allows customers to make fractional purchases so that they can either set up a savings program or dollar cost average without having to buy whole coins or bars. And then they have the option later to convert to physical metals at a later point with no conversion fees. So it's essentially like a tokenization of precious metals, but with fully backed metal.
I remember the first time I saw a 1 kilogram gold bar, it was the size of an iPhone, actually. Just to think that so much wealth is in such a compact object. And nowadays, 1 kilogram bar is worth about $120,000, $130,000. It's just hard to believe.
Well, I mean, the 400 ounce bar that you lift in our store, that's worth 1.6 million Australian dollars, which is now the average house price in Sydney, isn't it? So
Yes.
it's either take the gold bar, take a house. It's pretty crazy.
Do the younger people also go and buy the numismatic coins because of particular themes, or are they inclined to buy the bullion bars and coins instead because of better value?
Yeah, look, that for sure. One of the big sellers for us is obviously the bullion savings program, simply because that is that gram by gram savings amount, and they can take any savings that they have and instantly put that into smaller fractionalized amounts. And that tends to be from younger people what they purchase the most with us.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that probably makes sense. Well, Claudia, it's really good to have this chat, and I'm sure our respective customers and viewers are going to appreciate the insights that we shared. If people want to get in touch with you to start an account with BullionStar, how could they contact you?
Thanks so much for having me on, Brian. I've really enjoyed our chat and I really appreciate your invitation. If customers want to sign up for a new account, they can do so for free at www.bullionstar.com/new account. And when you sign up fairly easily with your email, from there you do get 10 grams of silver for free. And then I can get in contact with you and start offering you some special deals.
Excellent. And I hope that the business goes well with BullionStar and also in your own personal pursuits. So once again, everyone, Claudia Merkert from BullionStar, thank you very much.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Brian.